Yeah, so I think for me, this whole thing is about kind of understanding how we end up where we are, understanding how our environment changes our decisions. So I think for me, when we got into business with each other, 8 months ago now, it felt like, yes, we were only just starting the business together, but it almost felt like it was always going to happen. We just didn't know how well it was. That's how I always seen it.
We were working together a lot more than we probably realized before the actual official joining. You mean like we did a lot of jobs together.
Yeah.
That little Essendon, was it Essendon? Richmond, that little Richmond nut job one. We've always done electrical work together. You did my house. I've helped you in your house. So like we've always been doing something together. You mean like there's not been like just like, oh, we're just picking each other up from the street.
Yeah.
Like I think it's been a bit more organic, as they would say, than probably another relationship that is just cold. Just let's get this done. But yeah.
But I think for me, what I really want to know, like even now, especially as men, mates, tradies, you don't really get time to sit down with someone and like really chat. It's actually pretty rare to really get that one-on-one time with even people really close to you. I want to know, like from your perspective, like you're someone who says loves being a builder, loves being a chippy. I don't think there was ever a point in your life where you weren't going to do this as your career. So I want to know a bit like, how did your environment growing up shape you to be where you are today? What was it like?
Yeah, I think a lot, obviously, as we touched on last time, with like not so much a family tradition, but like I was sort of bled into it, like, or whatever the term you use for it. But I mean, like, I'm not saying I didn't have a choice, but it was like something that, it's like when you see your dad do something when you're a little kid and you're just fascinated by it because you're like, well, what's this idiot doing? You mean? And
that was your uncle?
That was my uncle, because my dad was obviously a lot different. So I obviously have like two very different sides to my family. I have the Asian side and my dad's like a scientist.
So your dad's Vietnamese?
So dad's Vietnamese, like he come from a very like traditional family where it's like you study and, you get a degree and then you actually, move into something like that. But my dad never pushed it on me. Like he never was like the one to go, I want you to do this or study hard or do that. My dad's very free spirited. Like he's like, just do what you want and you'll find your way. Yeah. And obviously that's probably a lot the way that I am as a person, where I'm just like, I push things, but then like people end up doing or eventually working out what's best for them. You know what I mean? Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you work it out. You know what you want to do eventually. When you actually do that job and you get that feeling, you're like, this is it. You may have some doubt, but you get that feeling of like, like this is it. Right. This is it, you mean? So I was very lucky where I had the opportunity to work for my uncle at a very young age I was like 13 or 14, something like that. But I actually, maybe because he was, he was an all right boss, but like the people around me was like really good, you know what I mean? And I had a really good introduction to the industry. And from then on, I loved it because, you know what I mean? Like I was actually obsessed. Like I was infatuated with like the ins and outs of like how to build a house, and like not like I nerded up, but like I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know why was this that way? Why was this that way? You mean, or how to do this, or like how could I get better at something? And then obviously once I got older and older, and then money come into it, and I realized like, fuck, I can actually make money out of like doing what I want. Like I was like, this is good, man. Like when I used to work, people used to say to me like, I'll be working on the weekends, Saturdays, Sundays. Be like, fuck, why are you working so much? I go, because I actually like, I loved it. Like I was like, I'd do a deck or something, and I'd be like, how good's this? You know what I mean? And I'm getting paid to do it. So I was like, it was so easy for me that pathway, because obviously the free will with my parents, like just let me do what I want, and then just by the luck.
Like our friendship started when we were probably 17, 18. But your uncle Des was a builder.
Yeah.
And so what was we don't have to go too deep into it personally, but like what was the relation, like why were you even exposed to him building? Like how did that happen?
So he had no sons. So he only had one daughter. And so like my Aussie side of the family, I was very close with. They're like, they're around more. The Asian family was like in Point Cork, and it was just just never worked.
Yeah.
And I was really close to my grandparents. So like that's where my uncle sort of come into it, where we were just a really tight-knit family. There's only like 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah.
And then so in saying that, sorry, what were you asking? What'd you ask?
So you're like, I know that so Des is your mum's brother.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, how did you even get exposed to him building? Like what was, so you were a close-knit family. Was it like at the dinner table, the conversation, stuff like that?
Yeah, it was more the conversation of like, I was just doing like little bibs and bobs with him. And then I felt like maybe obviously he's dead now, so I can't speak for him. Well, I can try to speak for him, but I felt like I was his son. Like I had that feeling of like, when I was on site, he was not trying to teach me stuff, but he was trying to get me into that role. And he was always at my mum saying, you know, like Ben would be a good apprentice. I'd love to have him on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he was obviously in the wings trying to get me on. Like he saw something that I could be somewhat half a hack of a chippy. But he was definitely a driver into it. And then obviously my mum is, because she's just like an Aussie, you know what I mean? An Aussie skip. She was like, yeah, trade, get into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once the ball started rolling, the whole family just jumped onto it because I was the last. Like my brother was in fashion designing, so then like I was the last person in the
to
family.
hand the torch over to.
Yeah, you mean? So it was like.
So was there discussions like around when you first committed to it? Were your parents like, are you sure this is what you want to do, or was it more just like, I'm just going to help Uncle Des, and then that kind of just eventually?
100%, yeah. So it definitely started very early, and like just working with him. And my dad's very hands-on. Even though my dad's like a scientist, like he's like a hands-on guy. You know what I mean? Like obviously it's different now, but I mean like before he was very hands-on, always mucking around in the shed doing hacks.
Because your dad's obviously your dad has lost his sight.
Lost his sight, yeah. So I think everyone sort of without meaning, like even with my brother's kid now, like they're buying him chainsaws. They call me Uncle Ben, the builder.
The builder.
He's trapped. He's doomed. He's doomed.
He's doing chippy work.
he's doomed.
Cheap labour. I love that.
100%. It's the next apprentice. So, it's just. I think it just. You think maybe I got pressured into it, but I definitely once I figured out that was what I wanted, and I was loving it. I was all in. There was no fibre in my body that didn't think I might not be a chippy. It was like I was waiting to finish school because my dad's like, I want you to finish school. As soon as I finished school, the next day after muck up day, well, I wasn't nearly meant to go to muck up day because I nearly got kicked out. But
so you finished your 12, but
finished your 12, yeah. Finished.
Was that your parents' wishes? Get through year 12?
Yeah, 100%. But
they wanted you to finish year 12 VCE, not VCAL.
No, VCE, proper VCE, yeah. And then, you know, like I was, which is fine, do you know what I mean? And I actually loved school. Like I didn't want to leave schooling so I could do an apprenticeship. I loved school.
Yeah.
Like I
friends,
had a grass time there, yeah.
Community.
Yeah, 100%. Girls, you know,
mucking
around, you know what I mean? So it's like.
But you took that pressure off, and that's what I mean when I say, like, it obviously will take time for me to actually kind of explain why I'm doing this, but my step into being a tradesperson was not like that. It felt like thrust upon me. It felt like work. And then school didn't necessarily feel like there wasn't a reduction of pressure. There was an excess of pressure because we were there for sport, and it always felt like a pressure cooker. And sometimes, like, you know, other kids might not have felt like that, but you can only deal with your own reality. Where for you, if you had your life in your head mapped out, I know what I'm doing, you could live in the moment and enjoy school probably and enjoy it.
Sure. It definitely 100% that was the thing because I knew. Obviously, I actually tried school. It wasn't like I joke. Like all
right, what'd you get? What's your VCA score?
I got 50.
You know what I got? I got expelled in year 12. I got expelled. Have I ever told you the expelled story?
I don't know.
I'm not telling you.
Are we telling this on this sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing the full expel story. But long story short, suspended multiple times, got expelled.
Did you? Oh, surprise! You got suspended at school. I find that hard to believe.
Excessive suspensions. There was a group of about 5 of us, and one by one they picked us all off except for Terry. You know, my mate Terry. Terry lasted.
But Terry can't have been a bad boy, surely.
Guilty by association.
Yeah.
Guilty by association. But yeah, so I got expelled toward the middle to the end of year 12, and that was like, for me, it was like a relief, but at the same time, it was a little bit of fear because it was like.
So were you trying to were you trying to get expelled? Like, were you
No,
really
I
pushing the
think-
boundaries because you're like,
Look, when I think back to when I was a kid, I don't think I was. I actually still don't think I was a bad kid. I think a lot of people would say that I was just. I think really I was just immature. Like I didn't have my priorities where they needed to be. I think I matured later. Like I really don't think I matured till I was probably 28. Really, I think throughout my 20s, like I just didn't. I thought I had it in me, but I just could never really put one foot in front of the other and get that momentum. So in school it was the same, and then it wasn't like really bad stuff. Like I would get into fights and stuff like that. Didn't know how to control my emotions. Again, immaturity, lots of aggression, and then little things like intent, like not wearing the right uniform, like wearing runners instead of school shoes, like just really basic stuff, lack of discipline for that type of stuff. But then when I did get expelled, which was for like basically an altercation with the teacher in a exam,
physical
altercation. Yeah, that wasn't great. Not my greatest moment, but physical altercation with the teacher. And when I got expelled, I think like it was a little bit like like that security of like, yeah, but I'm still at school. And I was a tennis player. I had the support of the tennis school and stuff. It was just like, all right, now what? And the whole thing was my parents were like, they were ropeable that happened. And they said, you got to finish year 12. Like you're finishing year 12. So they basically went back and forth with the school and they accepted that I could finish year 12 at another school, but I had to wear the Maribyrnong College uniform. That was the deal. So I had to go to Braybrook College and complete my exams in a Maribyrnong College.
So really
uniform.
just like a degrading thing.
Thing. Yeah. And I remember my mum, she dropped me off at Braybrook College and I looked at her, I'm like, please don't make me do this. She's like, I'm sorry, but you're going. So I get out the car, walk into the school. They had a seat at the front. I had to go in 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
Did my exams. They were yelling stuff at me in the class. Like, yeah, anyway, I got 25. I got 25. But at the same time, like, I think the biggest thing for me, it wasn't like what I got in BC and stuff. It was just lack of direction. Like now what? You think your whole life, I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to play tennis. And you say you are, but you never really like, I was never ever going to be a professional tennis player. Like that was really never an option because I was clearly not mature enough to do any of that. Like maturity is like, at a young age is like gold. So
do you reckon that stuffed you up then? That having that little, personally, like I never had that pipeline dream where it was like,
But you did. It was to be a builder.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Like you had that pipeline dream of being a tennis player.
I don't think that was the thing. Like I don't even think I had a pipeline dream of being a tennis player. I think I don't know what pipeline, is that even a term? Pipeline dream?
No, I'll make it up now. Make it
I never had a goal or I never had a dream of being a tennis player. I think it was more, I just wanted to be an athlete. And I think there was like the flavor of the month. Like I'd go play school footy and I'd do well and they'd be like, oh, join the footy program. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. Whatever I felt like I could do to just be in sport. And then what happened, school finishes and then you're thrust into this. I went to America, I come back and school that was at the start of year 12, school finished. I was going to quit tennis, had to go overseas and parents were going to spend money. And I was just like, no, like I'm not up for this. When I quit, my parents were like, what are you going to do now? You got to get a job. And it was kind of like, you're not going to go to uni. You got 25 on your ATAR or whatever VC score, like you're going to be a tradie. So Terry's brother helped me get an apprenticeship and I did work experience and then flung onto a job site and it was never a positive experience. Yeah. And this is why I think like, if you can think back to your environment and your decisions, you'll realize like a lot of your decisions are made for you, in my opinion. My decisions, like growing up, my dad was a really hard worker, night shift, had a cleaning business, would work on the house for himself. I never wanted to help him. Like from a kid, I never wanted to be a tradie. Like it was not in my DNA. And then like once you kind of life plays its part, you get stuck and then your perception of situations is purely based on your experiences. You know what I mean? Did
you feel like you didn't want to help your dad because, not saying in a harsh way, you didn't respect tradies in that way, like what their value was maybe? Like I
think for me it was just like when you're a kid, you always want to do what you want to do, right? You don't have that ability to say, I don't want to do what I don't want to do. And I'd be lying if I said I wanted to do that. I had no interest in building, couldn't care less. Like even now, working on my house, like if I have an hour spare and I can either fix the door or I can hang out with my wife, I'm hanging out with my wife. Like I just cherish that time. And for me, it was kicking the footy, like always running around, always outside, always into sport. And I think you just realize when you turn 18 that you're not a kid anymore. And life just like, it's like it just hits you.
It does, yeah.
But when you I'll say fortunate enough that the experiences that are thrust upon you allow you to be somewhere where you love what you do. How good is it going to work and loving work? Like I love my job now. Life is easier. You know what I mean?
Some days.
No, but you can't, no, I know, but you can't just say that you can't love your life only when it's good. I think like a saying that I try to get myself used to with what we do. It's like, this is the game we play. Like obviously we're in developing. Well, not obviously, people that don't know, we're in developing. We buy, renovate, sell property, and we're in the whole renovation game. For me, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but winning's not as good if you don't lose. So it's the game we play. The 95% of my life, my days, I love it. Like you come to site, I get to work in mud, and I'm looking at you going like, I don't even want to step in there because I'm going to dirty my shoes, but you're not like that.
Yeah.
And I think, so your connection with like, was it with carpentry, or was carpentry the means to an end in terms of getting into building?
No, I was definitely building. Like I knew from maybe about a year or a year and a half in, when my uncle used to maybe clean bricks, because we used to knock the.
So this was at 8 years old, or how
old? we used to knock the brick walls down, and we used to have to clean the bricks so the brickie could reuse the bricks. But when I mean bricks, I mean like piles. Because at that point, my week's wage was $240 a week.
Hold on, we're gonna stop here. I've got to speak about this seriously. We have first year apprentices employed by us. When I think I started on $6. I actually think I started on $6, $6.20.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How is that like seriously? Like
I'm not good with maths, but yeah, I was getting about, what's the maths on that? Yeah, $240 a week, $280 a week. Like it's not much, man.
So that was after tax. After the $18 tax you paid, it was
yeah, I was getting that in my pocket. Yeah.
Bloody hell. Yeah. So
yeah, I realized from early on where I was like, me and a guy that I did my apprenticeship with, Jack, we used to just clean bricks. When I mean, it was like I didn't used to tell people because I was embarrassed.
So you and Jack Johnson started at the very start.
Maybe like 6 months after me he started. Right. I still remember when he rocked up to my uncle's house in a suit and a tie, not a suit, like a shirt and a tie, and goes, can I have an apprenticeship? And honestly, I was dying, yeah. So Jack's fell obviously for that reason. But we used to clean bricks together, and we used to say like, there's got to be more to apprenticeship than this. Like there's got to be. And we would watch all the other tradies like work, and we would just be. I had like a Matic. That was I used to clean. I had like a little umbrella, and we used to. It's actually embarrassing. So I didn't used to tell my parents or anything that I used to clean bricks that much, because I always be like, didn't want to. It was just like the way my uncle taught me. It was a part of the job. It was a coming of age. Yeah. So I knew that like, okay, it's going to get better. Who has got the best job? Like who is for one making the money, and who has got the best job? And there was this guy Rod who was like the senior tradesman, who was making all decisions, and he was the guy. He was working, but he wasn't doing like the shit stuff, and he was always looked cool, calm, and collected. I'm like, that's the guy. And I used to ride to his house in the morning, and he used to drive me to work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously once I sort of got to that level of him, once he'd left, but then I was like, okay, I'm at that sort of level. I was like, okay, it's time to really, like, maybe a couple of years after my apprenticeship, like, this is the time where I'm like, I'm probably not ready, but I'm going to go.
For the builder's license?
Yeah, I went for my DBL. So I was a couple of years after my apprenticeship. I would have been, I don't know, 20. Well, I don't even know what
I remember that. You did your DBL just before Camp Road.
And then I was like, do you know what I mean? Like, that was the big risk for me. That was the one where I was like, this is it. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I knew it was a path. As I said, I was very lucky when I was young. I was like, I knew the stepping stones to get there. You know what I mean? I knew how to get there, and I knew what I had to do it. So everything that I was really doing in my life was towards that. Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's what people need. Like, people need to feel the needle. You need to feel like you're just getting somewhere. Yeah. And I think, like, if you think about, so let's say if we go back to your apprenticeship, like you said at the start, your Des, if someone like Des who you look up to says you got to clean bricks, well, you felt like I got to clean bricks. Yeah. And you did that with whatever gusto, we'll say. So you're cleaning bricks. Then you go from that to, like, you know, obviously getting better at your trade and stuff. When did you feel like you went from, like, I know you went and got your DBL, but when do you feel like it actually shifted to hey, I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm ready now.
I know the exact. I actually know the exact, not the exact day, but I know the exact moment it was when. So my uncle said that we used to work for this developer called Copperpenny.
Yeah.
And there was these two monster side by sides in Baldwin, and I was like maybe a year and a half in our apprenticeship, wasn't ready, like was fucked, like
No, when as in you weren't ready.
nowhere near ready to run this out. Like they're huge, they're like they had lifts in them and stuff like that, and we were only on an hourly rate. So my uncle's like, you just run them, I'll look after the other stuff. Like when I've got price, you just look after them. I'll give you all these. We had 7 chippies and men, and he goes, you just look after it. You handle the like. He was helping me. He goes, you do all this, like mark out all the steel. You deal with what we used to use this big steel company, and you imagine steel in these joints, yeah. And then we were marketing it out, and we were talking and stuff like that. And then they were talking about something that was wrong.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I was like, I had my head in the job. They had their head in the job, obviously, but I had it more. And I commented something, and it was just like a moment where I was like, fuck, like I can actually, I know what I actually know what I'm doing here.
So you chimed in and you said it?
100%. And I was like, all right, like I can actually do this, like I can actually do these big houses and like all the steel and all the party walls and this sort of stuff and all this, so much stuff was going on in the job, but that's all I had to look after. I had nothing else going on in my life. Like I was just, all I cared about was these jobs. So I was obsessed with these jobs. You know what I mean? Like I'd go home, I'd think about the next day, I would think about how I got to look after the boys and do all this stuff. And then we ended up doing more and more projects for the job, and I just looked after their stuff. But that was the moment where I was like, I can actually run a job.
Yeah.
Like I can actually not just do the cheapy stuff. I can organize people. I can, and people were listening to me. It was the first time when people were like, hey, Benny, what do we do here? And the steel would come up to me and ask me stuff. I was like, it obviously, blew my head up a bit. But I mean, like at that point in time, I was like, yeah, I actually am like, I am that guy on site at the moment because people are coming up to ask me and no one else knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So that was definitely the first job that I was like, this is it.
And construction sites are weirdly similar, I reckon, to like sporting teams.
Mm.
You have like on site, on a footy team, you have the people that are the leaders, and it's almost like they lead. Even if you're not looking for advice, whatever they're doing, you're just going to copy them.
Yeah,
on a footy field, on a job site, it's the same. And once you get that label as he's the guy, you almost feel it, and then you go on. And that's when, for me, is when you get an enjoyment.
Yeah.
And I think a big thing to think about that I've kind of lived by, especially in the last few years, is just don't force the door open. Like when the time comes, you don't need to ask the question. Like the answer's there. And on site, it's the same. You say to apprentice, they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be qualified. I need to know everything." It's like when you need to know everything, you will know. The time will come where someone will ask you, or the job will present itself, and that's when you need to know. And you don't know everything. It just you open the door to the next phase of learning, basically.
You do have to, like, as whether you agree with this on site, you do have to, you have to take a risk. Like you can't, like, you're never gonna, as we're saying, you're never gonna know everything. But there's got to be a moment where you go, I'm gonna have a punt here, because like even now, like I don't know everything. Like I lean on people to find out stuff. I wish there was more people to lean on. but it's
just don't lean on any of the walls you've built. They might fall over.
Yeah, so it's just you have to take a punt. Like you have to back yourself. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna back myself here.
You've got to start thinking for yourself and making those decisions. But it also comes with understanding the circumstance, or accepting the responsibility of the decision. Yeah, that's it's funny. Like as we're talking about this, I feel like my brain's like drawing parallels to like my sporting thing. So think about it, right? I started playing. So people that are around me started playing tennis when they were like 3. First thing they did, 3, 4, dad's in tennis, whatever. I started playing tennis when I was 11. So it was a apartment complex, and in the middle was a tennis court and a swimming pool, and like this asphalt tennis court. So every so often my dad and me would play tennis, and there was car parks. I'd hit a ball against the wall. That was it. And then at 11, I like introduced myself to a tennis center, like a local tennis club, and it just kind of picked up from there. So the first like year and a half was that.
Did dad push you into it or no? Or no? Or you just...
I don't think he pushed me into it. I think I was always going to commit to some sport, but I think when he seen that it was tennis, he pushed me into golf. Like when we were kids, like we used to learn how to swing a golf swing from baby.
Your dad loves golf, yeah?
Yeah, loves golf. So the first sport I played was golf, and like we had to do a certain amount of swings before bed every night and stuff like that. And then he didn't want to push tennis golf onto us because I think he felt like it was a little bit too full on for a kid, which is funny because then it became tennis, and tennis was. But he never pushed sport onto me, but he did push a level of commitment. Like if I said I was going to do something, then he would push me to say that I need to do it. But again, as a kid, you didn't quite connect the dots on what he was trying to help. So let's say I started, let's say 12 when I was really playing, quit at 18. So we're talking 6 years, right? So in those 6 years, I was like, I'm trying to, in your youngest years, you're trying to pick up, all right, I need to be a professional. You're trying to piece together like what you were, like when you're getting how to get better, the etiquette, like learning how to properly train, how to deal with criticism, all those types of things. And you're trying to learn it on the way while you're a kid and you're trying to grow up. Then you go from 18 to, let's say, 24, those 6 years. Like imagine if I could spend the first 6 years learning and then I could have started playing tennis at 18.
Yeah.
And then by 24, you probably be equally as good. Yes, all right, as a kid, you need to get that. You got the motor skills to be able to learn new skills and whatever. But I just never had that mental capacity to like, and even like not even to be let's not even talk about making a living or being a professional tennis player. Let's just say like to play at a level that made me feel a sense of accomplishment, because I never really left tennis with a sense of accomplishment. I just felt like what a waste. Like I spent 6 years of my life training morning, night, coaching kids, training like missing parties, doing this and that, to only become a tradie in Tarneet at 18. So it just felt like a waste. So like when you draw the parallel back to you, like you had that time to learn, have fun, enjoy your schooling. You had in the back of your head what you wanted to do. And when it came time to go to work, like you went to work. And I know I've known you for a long time, rain, hail or shine, no matter what's happening the day before, you're at work.
Yeah.
And I think that commitment, like that willingness to learn is like way more important than anything. So if you think about professional kids, professional sporting athletes, everyone says he's born with this, he's born with that. There's as an element of natural ability that you get born with, but willingness to learn, ability to learn, discipline, maturity, all those things are like so important. And anything, sport, business, like, so obviously you've had that level of application to what you're doing because of whatever it is that you in your environment that you associated it with success. Like you looked at being a builder as a successful thing. I didn't associate a qualification as anything. I was just like, big deal. Like I'm qualified. Couldn't care less. Didn't go to trade school. Was the worst apprentice that's probably walked planet Earth. If we had hired me 3 weeks, I would have been out the door. Shocking.
I can only imagine.
We were friends at that point in time, so you probably do understand what I was getting myself into. But see, then if we go for like, so now so let's say you're 24, you've got your DBL, you're a qualified chippy. When did you start to like piece together what that meant for your career? Because in the phase of apprenticeships and, you know, DBLs and stuff, you're still in a very structured environment where they're telling you follow the basis, you learn. Yeah. Now the learning's done. Obviously you're going to get your DBU. What was the next stage?
I knew my next drama was money, because like I saw my uncle like have these like a lot of financial trouble, and I just saw it ruin him. Like so, I always used to think, okay, I gotta save some money. Like, and like I knew deep down that I knew to make money, I had to work for people, but I never wanted to do it because like the type of person I am, like I just feel like it's a ticking time before someone which rips me off and I spew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I knew I had to work for people, but I was trying to work for people that I knew and it was going to be like really stable, and it just like snowballed. You know what I mean? I never like. Even when I worked for people, it was a really close connection to someone. Obviously, it's not like a grouse thing to say, but like not grouse thing for scaling up. Yeah. But it was like I always just was only really working for people that I knew, and like I was saving my money, and I was like, I need to buy a house so I can renovate it. Like I had to buy a house because like I thought about it like, okay, I'm working on the weekends for someone and I'm getting my fucking balls done in from these people and having to put like a brave face on going, you know, like blah, blah, blah. Or I could take a punt and buy a place, renovate it, and then see what happens on the way out. You mean?
And live in the construction site.
live in it. You mean?
Living in a genuine construction site. I remember the first time I come to Kent Road, there was in the lounge room, there was a light cable hanging down. I had to make it work. You didn't want to move it. You wanted the cable hanging in the lounge room. We taped that up and that was the light switch.
So yeah, I knew I had to take a risk at some point. I knew at some point I'm like, I'm going to have to renovate something, put my money where my mouth is. And I think I saved up like, I think I had to save like 70 grand or something like whatever it was for
For the deposit, yeah.
So I saved all that money and everything I had was in that, like to the dollar, like I had nothing. And then we just renovated it, you know what I mean? And just like did it on the fly. You imagine me with design, like trying to design stuff. I'm like, just get it done, you know what I mean? Like trying to think. So it wasn't about that. It was more just about like, I felt like it was more productive me taking a punt like that way when I still had like a bit of a stable income and rolling the dice and then putting all my eggs in one basket. And I was lucky that I renovated it and it took me a while because I was doing it on the weekends and fine. I didn't really know what I was doing because like.
But hold on, if your dad, so Des was building for clients, was he doing his own developments?
No, never.
So who planted in your mind about being a developer, like a builder developer?
Yeah, so before the generation before my uncle were like, they were developers. So,
so hold on. So Des is your mum's brother.
Correct.
Was your mum's brother.
Yeah.
And your mum's parents or dad was a builder.
No. So my mum's, so it's like a bit of a weird intertwined story. So my mum's mother, Auntie Pam, or Grandma Pam, her father was one of the biggest builders in Brunswick. So like he built
my great
grandfather, and then he had all these sons like Uncle, oh my God, what's his name? Anyway, so he had all these uncles that they all did business together. And they had this like idea of, as I said, like doing that one out in Bacchus Marsh and it fucked up. And
tell us that story again because
so they used to do all like jewel locks around the area. My mum used to put money in. They used to do all these jewel locks and all these renovating homes and fine. So they're all making all this money and it's like they had all these solicitors involved that were doing all like dodgy business and they had some bit of a crooked past and they decided we're going to go big. So they actually bought another island as well. They bought this island, like Crab Claw Island or something like that, and they were going to renovate that. They're going to do this caravan park on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with that one, but more the big one that destroyed the whole family and like everyone's hopes and dreams and thinking of like, I don't think I would be doing this podcast if that was the case. I would be some private school boy sitting in Toorak, buddy, living my life, unfortunately. But here I am.
You just spent the last 45 minutes telling me that you love being a builder.
Yeah, I do.
The first Wesley College carpentry.
Yeah. So they decided to buy this piece of land around a church. And supposedly the Maltese like to live around churches because it's like they want to live close to the thing. It's something with their religion or something, whatever it is. I'm not a religious, as you can tell. And then so everyone in the family put their money in. Like they're in. You know, this is the one. This is the one you can't miss out on.
Yeah.
So my mum's put money in. My uncle's put money in.
Your mum? So hold on. This was your mum. Was at a point where she could put money? How old was your mum?
Oh, she would have been. It didn't happen that like my mum would have been maybe 20s when she was getting married to my dad.
Oh wow! I thought this was way
No,
older.
100%.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So 20. So hold on, wait. Let's say your mum's what, 60, mid 60s?
60s, yeah.
So born in let's say 65. So it was 85, 90.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, they put all their money in. Everyone's like, yeah, this is going to be it. And like when I mean money, like they're putting their everything, it's life savings. And my mum wasn't so much because she didn't have much money, but everyone else was. And then they started trying to get plans and permits for it and stuff like massive civil scale, which I obviously have no idea about. Yeah. And then this green tree frog lived in this area, and all the litigation, like the greenies stopped it, and they couldn't do this development.
But they own the site.
So because all the interest they would have been paying. So all the interest, you imagine
But you still own the land, wouldn't you?
No, but they couldn't pay the repayments. So it just got.
Oh,
you're talking about like a site, like not like a little thing we're doing.
God.
Like I mean, like land.
So the bank would have just repossessed it.
And then but what happened in the family have put obviously massive scars because everyone's losing their money and some people are pulling their money out because they knew a bit more about it. So it just created a massive rift in the family.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that probably put our family back in a way of like put him in their box. So like my uncle never did any developments. He was like, I'm only going to do renos.
I want to use other people's money.
That's it. And he would never went anywhere near. He did a couple little things, but nothing where it was like that. He'd rather just work for someone and make his money and then think. But that was a disaster because I saw what happened to him. He just got ripped off by everyone because everyone's just,
So that's what I'm saying. Again, like it's like the experiences that you absorb and things that you're exposed to, like it just impacts you. Like for us, how many times I don't like working. Not that I don't. I do enjoy work. Physically building is a completely different to the advisory and stuff. Physically building for clients, I find is like, it's just like a recipe. The chances of building the house, walking out, everyone's extremely happy when you consider budget, timelines, expectation versus reality, all of those things, it's very slim. It's very slim. And even then, like it's so, I feel like the amount of it's not really a builder's job. Like builders need support networks to be able to build and then allow people to help them with those situations. But then for me, the developing, like touch wood, I haven't been exposed to something like what your family's been exposed to.
Yeah.
And which is why I love when you've come into the development with us is like, yes, I know you say that you're taking risks, but you like taking educated risks.
I'm a bit more conservative, yeah.
A bit more conservative, but not completely. I don't think you can do what we do in developing and not have a level of risk. Like it's natural. But yeah, like hearing those stories even just helps. You don't hear those stories. You hear a lot of, oh, the builder ripped me off and this would happen, but stuff like that's important. And especially back in that type of like flora, fauna and all that and environment is a whole nother ball game that they probably wouldn't have even been exposed to, right? Because in the North Brunswick stuff.
100%, no idea. Absolutely. I actually don't know because that's where they had this Ron Silverstein guy. I think he's still alive. And he was the architect of the whole thing. And my Uncle Ray, that was the one. So they were in business together and they done this plan. And my God, did that plan fail, man?
That's shocking.
That's crazy.
So who's outside your mum, who's still here that was part of that deal?
Well, Auntie Shirley's there. No one. Just my mum. My mum all dead.
And
so that my pop in his deathbed still thought he was going to get money out of it because not money out of it, but like he was thinking, all the interest we're getting from this stuff was delusional, like thinking that he's going to make all this money again. But
did that really impact your grandfather?
No. He just had this hope of like I still remember when I was younger. When I used to go to his house, he was always like, "Oh, do this on the calculator, Betty. Look how much money we're going to make." You know what I mean? But
I was just about that. Well, you weren't born then, were you?
No, I was born. No, it happened.
Oh,
it
really?
dragged on for ages. But it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
It was always gone. It was
and
gone.
He was still
years
holding
ago.
on to the.
Yeah, he was still holding on because he was like, you're talking about big money, yeah. So it just never worked out. But
it was in Bacchus Marsh.
Bacchus Marsh. I still know the hill. Because I've seen
How many acres was it? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know how many acres. I could find out, but it was. Man, everyone's putting in money, and it's like back then as well. And Bacchus Marsh back then was ghost town.
Can't imagine. I remember once I did a job for someone who I was in the city. I was doing maintenance, like electrical maintenance, and like when I was shifted from, because when I first started doing bathroom renos and stuff, I was still doing electrical. I was running like a maintenance business, and when my ears kind of pricked to, hold on, I could probably somehow skip the water and go from this side of the bridge to the other side and be a builder. I started trying to I was just trying to take information for everyone because I didn't really have many people around me that were builders. And I remember I walked into this office. It was just like an office maintenance job. I was changing downlights or something. And the guy, he was in his office and he was, you could tell he's obviously extremely wealthy and had all this stuff. And I just kind of went into his office and I was like a big thing for me. I'm like, do you mind if I ask, what do you do? Like, I couldn't even tell what they made money in the office. And I remember he's like, yeah, have a seat. And he like made me a coffee. And he was telling me that he had multiple businesses doing website design and stuff. This was probably in like probably years ago. This is like maybe 10 years ago. And there was people doing website design and stuff. And he made his money because him and his dad, I think, had bought land in Laverton that was on a water table or was on something to do with like the land was, they said that you couldn't build on it. and they had bought property for like basically nothing, essentially just taking the land off other people. Like, and he had bought it and he left
Change
it.
the
He just
zoning.
Yeah, it was like nothing, and they left it.
No.
And then when they changed it, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure because I remember I've told the story about your grandfather, your family story, and I thought it was Laverton. I didn't know it was. So him in Laverton was when you get off of Corio Creek Road. There's like where the Laverton Market is. There's left and right. I'm pretty sure it's in there. And when you hear that, you think like, first of all, you think, oh wow, like you can lose a lot of money, but the other side of it is you can make a lot of money,
man.
and it's not just about money. It becomes like a game. And I think that's where I feel like the development has really given me a sense of enjoyment and purpose, is because like you're alive, like in a weird way, like you're part of this like game, and you're like watching the market and what are we going to get for it? And it might be worth 2 million and you might get 2.4, and that's 400 grand that like, what chance do I have of earning that? So you've gone from that into building, you've seen that. So when you've done your first project, and then what was the road to where we are now?
So more like I'll track back a tiny little bit more. Like I used to have this, like probably bring you into it. Like the reason why I went down this path with me and you, because like I think you will agree with me that when you're dealing with someone's money and their dream for their home, I'm not saying you feel like a sense of responsibility, but it can be a nightmare. Like the feeling I used to get after work was like, oh my God, it was horrible. Like horrible feelings. If you have a bad day at work on our sides, you're like, whatever.
Shut the site, go home.
Whatever.
Deal with it tomorrow.
With someone else's house, home, you stuff something up, like I'll be honest, I've stuffed things up, and I'm not one to shy away from that. And that's the way I am as a person. Like if I stuff something up, I'm going to fix it, or I'm going to show up. Even if I look like an idiot, I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
But dealing with that all the time when you got tradies and you think it was way too much.
Yeah.
Like maybe for my personality, I'm not that person. I can't just go like, I can switch off easy, but it affects me. Like it affects me. I mean, like I'm not just one to be like switch off and not like feel.
But that's like the integrity in what you're trying to deliver. You are trying to do the best that you can.
Yeah. So in feeling that, like when you approached me and stuff like that, and I probably thought I had, like I was making good money doing what I was doing, but like I thought I had more time in it. Like I could do this for a bit longer and then just build up slowly, but it was killing me. Like it was killing.
So at the time you were like doing a couple of clients projects, you had a project for yourself.
Yeah. I was probably.
You were an apprentice doing everything.
Yeah. And everything. Like I was doing, like I'd work on site with the apprentice, with the tradies, take all the phone calls, and I'd go home, do the book work.
Yeah.
And then I'd be trying to win work after work. So it was like a whole thing, you know what I mean? And it was, like I obviously was freshly with my fiance now. And even she was like, this is a lot. Like, is this going to be what our life's going to be like? I said, I promise you it won't. Like, 'cause it can't be. Like, I can't be working this for 10, 15 years. Like, it's just you burn out. And it's not a life I want to live. You've known me long enough where like, I'll still live my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll work day and night, do what I got to do, whatever I do to get the job done. But I do have to have that thing where I'm feeling like I'm actually living my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, when you approached me, and we had that conversation, it sort of like put a light bulb in my brain where like I could have people that I trust and like-minded pushing for the same goal. Where like before it was just me pushing, and then like I felt like it was just me against everyone. Like I literally felt like it was me against everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like either someone's trying to get money out of me, or someone's bludgeoning on me, or like it's just I was a pincushion. So then when you approached me, I sort of like sat down for a bit and I thought, could this be the road to my freedom a bit? Like where like I can turn this, like what you always say, turn this from just being like a construction business to like an actual business where we can enjoy it and not just be like, I've got to be hands-on all the time, where I can step away and still things move. You know what I mean? I'm not just the only guy that has to be what's Ben doing. You know, like I can move to that. And that was probably the main thing where I sat down, and I definitely didn't console Margot, but no, no, but I generally thought about it.
Like you didn't, she would have said no.
Yeah. I thought about it. I'm like, I got to think about it, not about the money situation. I got to think about more about in 5 years' time, what do I want to be doing? Like, where do I want to be? Like, I've either got to hire more guys and hire this big team to achieve what I want to achieve, or I can work with someone who is on the same level and we can split that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of like, yeah, it made complete sense to me where I was like, you know what? I just felt it in my bones, whatever you want to say. I'm like, this could be really good.
Yeah.
This could give me that freedom. This could give me that life that I wanted to live, you know what I mean?
And I think that was for me, like when you came over, my motto internally with our like working relationship was to work out what your strengths are, and I know what you're good at, and have in the back of the mind the things that you hated. And then my job is to allow you to build. That's what that's where you want to be. That's what you want to do. Allow you to build. That doesn't mean physically build, but it means like if you need something to be able to deliver the project, I expect to be able to provide that for you when you need it. And like that's what you've done for me, because like now I can lean on you to run the job sites and I can be, in the office. But once you went from that, so like then you've gone from that to, all right, so I've got all these jobs to hand over, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Was that from that to now, like we know what's happened, you've gone from that to working with us, but what was the original plan? Was the original plan to say like, just save as much money as you can and be a developer? Because I think, sorry to keep going, but I don't think people understand, like as a self-employed tradesperson, the amount of hats that you're wearing, like you could be under a house taking quotes. You're trying to provide this service. You are. You actually all tradies are trying their best, but they're under the house. They're answering calls. They're dealing with the accountant. They're trying to do marketing. They're getting pushed here, there, and everywhere. The builder is at the mercy of the subcontractor doing their job and arriving on time, and they're trying to control these things. And it's like this like pressure cooker of just over time, it just wears people down. And, you see these old grumpy tradespeople and you say, well, they've probably had it's pretty rough on them for the last 15 years. And now, like, when you were at that point, did you know that at some point you were going to make this big shift and you were just trying to bank up the coin, or like what was the...
It was definitely a coin thing. So obviously with us, with our funds combining, like that was a big plus. But I just feel like I realized once I had done a few, I was like, to really level it up or like expand the thing, you need bulk cash. Like you need bulk cash. And like I had a bit of money, but not like enough to do that. Like, and it would have been like, I saw the mountain I had to climb. Like you were saying with my apprenticeship, like I saw that I knew what I had to do.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a long one.
Explain the difference though. Like we have $500,000 each. You can do 5 projects, hypothetically. You can do 5 with 500 and I can do 5 with 500. So if we're doing 10 with $1 million, like where's the benefit?
Because I'm a big believer in this is probably where me and you not differ a bit, but like I can't look after that many projects. Like I can't, and I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to look after 30 projects.
No.
I want to work with someone who is like, I've always known my weaknesses, obviously, as you said, I've always known my weaknesses of like, not so much time management. Time management is not one of my weaknesses, but more like trying to take too much on. And I'm telling you, it was a big shift to be like, you know what, I'm actually going to somewhat at the early stage lessen my thing just so I'm like, I can push it out further. You know what I mean? And like, I'm very old school when it comes to like saving money, working your ass off, doing the like smashing yourself on the site, but it's not productive. You know what I mean? It's not seeing the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And like when my head's down, bum up, everyone thinks I'm doing a great job, whatever. But sometimes it's not the right thing to do, and sometimes it's really good to have someone around that just pulls you up a bit, and you go, mate, what are you doing? Like just having that different view on something. You know what I mean? My view is obviously my view. Your view is your view. Somewhere in the middle is unbelievable. You know what I mean? So it's like if it's just me doing my own thing and burrowing down a hole and going maybe on the wrong path and just going that way, but if someone else is pulling me a certain way and we work together and find the common ground, because we have to have that open line of relationship with us where you go, you're wrong there. Maybe go this way. Or I go, do it this way. And you go, no, you're an idiot. Like
Yeah.
this is the way we should do it. And then we find that common ground and then we skyrocket to the right spot.
Yeah.
But whether it's when you're by yourself, you go like a zigzag, like, oh, I fucked up here. Oh, I got to go over there. Stuff up here. You know what I mean? Whether your experiences have changed, made the way you are as a person, my experiences made me the way I'm as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
So we meet in the middle somewhere and I use your experiences, you use my experiences, and then that's it. You know what I mean? We work together as a team where, you know, I feel like we are.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the thing. Like, I think it's also like what you associate with success. I've been like, as for a day, like I say this a lot in our office because a lot of trades people, you subconsciously don't realize in a day, you have no wall, you build a wall, success. It's literally in front of you. You're looking at the wall and you know that today was a success. Tick the box, off we go. I can switch off and go home, especially when you're as an employee. When you when you start stepping off the tools, it's not easy to transition from that type of day where it's just tick, 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 tick to maybe like, it's like you're in a bit of a hamster wheel and you're putting spot fires off and then you've got to step away from site and say like, at the end of the day, what did I really get done today? And you start to question your productivity and you start to think like, what does it look like? So like that next step in development from going from on site to becoming a leader, it's not easy like at all.
Yeah.
Like, but if you look back at if we wind this all the way back to Des, like when you are now, whether you like to think about it or not, like you are the Des to your apprentices.
Yeah, for sure.
And like when you think back to, like if you can consider like your career to this point and where you've got to, like what are the things that you think, yeah, like I need to teach this and this is why I'm here. And these are the things that maybe Des taught me that probably didn't need to be like from a work perspective.
My uncle was very old school when it came to labor. Like I know you've got machines. But I would be just digging these holes for days, man.
Yeah.
And I'd get blisters on my hand and I'd like, this is crap. But that's the one thing I probably thought about myself. I have thought about it before, like, because I was like, when I started to hire apprentices and have people working under me, maybe my way of managing the site is very different to maybe like old school WOG ways of like yelling and screaming and, you know.
Ethnic.
Yeah, ethnic. And because I've seen that because obviously I've worked under a lot of people, you mean? And I've actually always, when someone's abused me or like has tried to push me down a certain path.
You don't respond well.
Not that I don't respond well. I think how I've responded to it and how I felt everyone else responding to it.
Yeah.
So like I'm a lot more lackadaisy on site when it comes to pressure people. And I know when, like you obviously know this about, when I want to get something out of someone, like I direct them into that way in the conversation. So like I never, with like certain tradies, I don't like, I stonewall, I don't full stonewall them and go, what the fuck you doing? You mean?
Yeah.
I go, mate, like what's going on here? What's going on? Is there any reason why you did this? Like,
yeah.
Why did it happen this certain way? Instead, like I felt like if someone come to me when I was a tradesman in a way of like understanding that, okay, some people fuck up. You may have just had a bad day and you've done something stupid and you've just been an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the chance to look me dead in the eyes and go, all right, I did a bit of a shit job. I fucked up today. You know, like I'll fix it.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like I got a really good response out of people when I was working with, and it wasn't like people didn't have that pressure when they worked for me to be like, oh, I'm going to get reamed if I don't do this, or you know what I mean? But when the shoe's on the other foot, sometimes I cop it because people think that I'm a pushover.
And that's what I was about to say.
So like that's where.
How do you balance that then?
So this is where,
because I think you're a lot better than me at this.
Yeah.
I'm a mix. I explode. Yeah. Like I find it hard to be, I'm getting better at it, but early days I found it hard to be assertive without being abrasive. And then at times, like I would feel like people would take advantage of me, and then that would build up into like, you know, not dealing with the situation. How do you balance that? Because you are really good at it. You can, like, I think because you're so jovial, when the time comes and you go and you give him the look, it's like, okay, he's serious.
So I struggle with it when I first became a builder. I really struggled with it because I had no power. I had no power over people. Like I was just trying to get people to the trades that I wanted. They would just come to my sites because I knew them through my uncle, but they were just there, like they were busy. but I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I really want you to come to the site. I appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. So I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Not that I couldn't do anything. I was always pay on time or do this. Once we did a few more and the roles reversed. When they were quiet, they go, oh, have you got any work, Benny? And I'd give them work. And then the power dynamic changed where they were calling me and they were like, I was their builder where they were, like, oh, what do you reckon to do here, this, that? The power dynamic changed.
Yeah.
And then I literally said to one guy one day, I'll never forget it. It was fucking me around, just doing some stupid stuff. So I said, honestly, mate, if you don't like it, I'll get another trade. And I didn't say it in a way of like a nasty way. I said, mate, like, this is crap. Like, if you're not going to do it properly, I'll get someone else. And it wasn't like an aggressive way. It was like understanding that I don't need you anymore, mate. Like,
Yeah.
not in a nasty way, you work for me, but like there are plenty other, because I have such a core group of trades now and I'm doing good work, paying on time, have that reputation and have that that feeling of site when you're a tradie. When you go to a site and it's good builder, everyone's happy.
Yeah. 100%.
Everyone knows when they're working for a good builder.
Yeah.
So I knew that I had that on site when people working with me. I had trades that would come straight away and they were good trades, but I had these trades that were like a little bit on the edge and I had those conversations with them when they would stuff stuff up. Honestly, man, like if you're not going to do it this way or like do it to a certain like standard of like, which is acceptable, then I'll find someone else. Like I will, like you mean? And then some people I lost and then some people I didn't. And it's important.
Yeah.
But I struggled with that at the start because I had besides my uncle's connections, I didn't have anyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny that like you say to people, like when people are aspiring to be builders and they say, oh, the waterproof is stuffed up. That's like how like immaturity. At the end of the day, you are only as good as your subbies and you need to be across everything and you can't just handball it and say, oh, it's the waterproofer or whoever it is. You've got to be responsible. And people management is like fundamentally the number one thing. Like you have to be able to somehow persuade, manage, make sure when a tradie comes in and he's not like I've seen tradies come in and having a bad day and like just say, you good? Like, yeah, I really need this done, but it can be done tomorrow. And like showing care and affection and creating like I guess a community working environment more than what we associate as a job site is like super important, and having respect for people and to say, because then, if you're always take, when the time comes, it doesn't work,
no, it doesn't work.
And like it kind of, you don't realize when it's not going to work. Like it's all good and well when you've got all the work and like you just said, you got all the work and you're doing what you're doing your thing. And then when the time comes, and it will come to all of us, to me, to you, to every builder out there, there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to call on someone and like, you're going to know pretty quickly what type of person you've been as an employer or as a, whatever you want to look at it.
Shows. Yeah.
It's going to show. Now that you're at that phase. So if we like, again, tie it back. So we've gone, school, apprenticeship, DBL, DBU to now. It's like that constant, ever evolving. Like you're never like at a point where you're done. Like we're always learning and stuff
Correct,
like that. And then the next phase, you said there was things that, from Des, he was very like hard on you and like you felt like he was that type of hard love.
He wasn't so much hard as a person. He was hard on his way of like,
it was old school work ethic.
100%. Yeah, it wasn't he wasn't a prick. Like he didn't yell and scream at you. Yeah.
But I'm saying now, like you've got our apprentices with you. Like, what is it that you notice that about the environment that they're working in that might not, like that's a little bit different to that environment? Yes, I know there's that we don't push our apprentices anywhere near like that.
We don't.
But is that going to affect their ability to learn? Do you feel like the environment that you're creating is the same but different, or it's just the times? Like
even I say to like Blake and stuff like that as well. Like
Blake's your obviously leading hand.
Blake's leading hand. Yeah. It's very important to someone as an apprentice to be able to fuck up, like be able to
make mistakes,
make a mistake, and then go, you know what? I've made a mistake. I'm not going to get grilled for it, because if I've been in that situation where you were in that and you make more mistakes because you're under pressure and you're like, I don't want to stuff up, and it really cooks with your brain because you're young, and being an employer, like understanding that they're just kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jesse, our apprentice, he's just a kid, man.
Yeah.
Like he's becoming a man, but he's so influential right now. And I even say to him, I go, you don't understand how much of an impact I'm having on your life, because when I was an apprentice and the tradesmen that I was hanging around with, like they had a massive impact on me. I still remember them, you know what I mean? And like the stuff that we used to do together, And it's so important that you get a good employer, and I take it as a responsibility to have that in my workplace where
Yeah.
people feel comfortable to come to work, and it's not like just, obviously I'm here to make $1 and they're here to learn, but there has to be a middle ground where it's like I'm making it a good environment where you have the best chance to become your best tradesman, whatever you want to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of my biggest things as an employer. I wanted to feel like that. I don't want it to be like a holiday. I want it to feel like it's actually a real good learning environment for you.
But that's the thing that I find hard to juggle is like, I grew up in a pretty strict, not my family is like, my family is very old school in their morals and stuff like that. And it was quite I would say somewhat strict, but not strict in other ways. But you grow up in that hard love environment, and then you look at yourself and you think back to where you're at and you say, well, whatever, whether it was up to you or it worked. There's an element of what Des did or whoever it is in your environment that's influenced has worked. There's actually no data to say that, Mr. Nice Guy boss that's creating a happier environment is going to actually work for the apprentices. And like sometimes like I think about it and I say like, I wonder like that formula, like are we in that phase? Because we've gone from the hard love to the nice guy phase. Are we going to go from the nice guy phase 10 years down the track? We're going to look back and go, we probably need to mix them a bit more.
I think it will, honestly, because I find it more with, you can probably say like more like with business relationships, it's a bit more of a hard love. Like, yeah, it's not as easy as like, because at the moment with the apprentices, they're working under me and they're trying to just find their way. When it comes to like dealing with an actual tradesperson or like a tradesman with a company and stuff like that, and it comes to money, frictions get high.
100%.
Like, you know what I mean? Like dealing with, which I don't think a lot of people understand, like in like an office, you send an email, you don't pay an invoice, they send another email, blah, blah, blah. You have that confrontation. I'm on site. So if I don't pay someone's bills, I'm at their, like we're meeting on site.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not hiding anywhere. So I can't hide. So like people don't understand that feeling of like coming to a site, you haven't paid a bloke, he's done a shit job. You're gonna have this conversation with him and saying, I want my money, I want you to do a proper job. And that confrontation is a lot. Like
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it can fly off the handle so quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's obviously comes down to, you know what I mean? Like trying to build a good trade base and having a good feeling on site where, like people can come to you and talk about things and not letting things get out of hand.
Well, that's where I think if you go back to in people that are working for builders, like I remember when I was an apprentice, I was a first year apprentice. And I know if anyone's watching this video, they can tell me if I was wrong, but I'll tell you the truth. Working at a job in Strathmore, there was a jackhammer or hammer drill or something. It was apparently left on site. Now I would put my hand on my heart and say I'm pretty much 100% sure that I put it in the employer's back of his ute, not my boss, the qualified person I was working under. Who knows where he went? It was in the back of the ute. It wasn't locked up. It was in the back of the ute. It got stolen. Now, whether it got stolen from his car, whatever, where I should have put it in the tray and locked it up, who knows? It was in the back of the ute, right? Once that they figured out it got stolen, I got told that it was my fault. I think I was on $300 a week, and they subtracted my whole wage to pay for the jackhammer.
They can't do that legally, but now they can't. But
probably
they
not
did,
now.
They did it, yeah. But yeah,
probably not now. But that made me feel like it just made me feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like it just demoralized me. It made me feel like even more so like, what the hell am I doing this for? Like what is the next, like what's the next step for me? Where now like as even like, when we look at like the way that we run our business, I don't even run 30-day payment accounts. Like if we're wrong, there'll be people on here that like call us out. We don't. We're literally paying almost the same day, if not within 7. The whole reason why I feel like that's important again is because of like the lessons and the things that we're learning. But there's employers out there that are working for clients and they've quoted 100 hours on the job and the apprentice is taking extra hours. And like these are the mounting of, they're the mounting things. And you might look at a builder or look at someone and say, oh, he's a this or he's a that. but he could be under a pressure cooker, and it might be from his bad decisions. And you're not making decisions for them, but you've got to there's landmines everywhere, and you can be having this conversation and it's running smoothly, but you've got to always have in the back of your mind something can go wrong. And as a builder, it's the same. Whether you're running a business or a builder, yes, the waterproof has done what he's got to do, but I've got to check it. I've got to double check it. I've got to be how many steps ahead? I don't think 2 steps ahead is enough anymore. You're probably going to be, you know what I mean? You've got to constantly be looking in advance and looking forward and putting it all together. But at the end of the day, I still feel like you're only a byproduct of your environment. You can only be who you are. I was a troublesome kid, grew up in Moonee Ponds, grew up with an incredibly loving family, never had to worry about food on the table, and I still was misbehaving. You're like, what happens if you put me in an area where we've got nothing? Does that make me better? No, it's just the reality is your environment, you are a byproduct of your environment to any sense, but you got to give people the opportunity to we've got apprentices that are working for us that might not have had the best start to their apprenticeship or have had, and you've got to work with people and understand what makes them who they are. And normally it's pretty clear. Your story now, that it sounds pretty clear to me why you are where you are and why it's important to you. You know what I mean? So if we go back to where we're at now, and you're now at that next transition from now to it's almost like starting a new job. In my opinion, it's you know how to build, you know how to do this, you know how to do that. But now it's about, all right, I'm a business owner. I need to, be a leader. I need to, get off the tools a little bit more and stuff like that. Where do you find the biggest challenges are in this next step for you?
Yeah, definitely one thing I probably struggle with the most is obviously when we don't have continuity of work, I really struggle with feeling useful. You know what I mean? So if we get hard up with permits and we've literally done everything we can, all we've got to do is just call the architect up and bust his balls, or call the building surveyor and bust his balls. That's where we're at with certain jobs. Then I feel lost where I'm I can go do something on site, but it annoys the supervisors a bit because I'm there and I'm they probably think I'm just checking up on, but I'm just working because I've got nothing to do. Not nothing to do, but you know what I mean? That's where I've come from. I've come from when there's nothing to do, I'm banging nails in, you know what I mean? So that's just a habit of mine. I'm so over our jobs at the moment, not over them, I'm so on top of them where I know what's going on in all the jobs. So if I have spare time, I work, but what I probably should be doing is planning a bit more, thinking about what our next steps could be with maybe expanding a bit more, doing something like that. That's where my time probably should be spent a tiny bit more. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because as you know, when we do a house, once all the documents are submitted and everything's off our back, we're done. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just building the house then. You know what I mean? It's not we've got a to and fro with anyone. It's just we're just doing our thing. So before, you know what I mean? Obviously I was doing all that stuff. So there was no downtime for me. There was always something else to do. Yeah. There is always something else to do, but I'm talking about just job specific.
I think, and that's what we were saying before. Yeah. It's you're still in that thing in a way where it's you want to see that result. You want things to be happening. Yeah. There's power in not doing, power in taking a breath, power in saying, oh, I've got a decision to make. I'll make it tomorrow. I think becoming a leader and I'm obviously, I'm not saying that I'm talking from someone that's at that position yet, but becoming a leader and being able to do that, I think starts with saying no as much as it's about saying yes. And as you'll find there are little wins. The little win might be ordering the tiles or, there's going to be something else in there that's going to make you feel
for sure. With me moving forward, I definitely know that's, I'm very the one thing I've always been in with my life, whatever you want to say, I've always been very self-aware of that's not really working for me. I'm not doing this right. I'm not really doing that. I've never been egotistical and I'm the best at this. Yeah. I've been I'm struggling there. I'll put a bit more energy into that. I'll put a bit more trying to learn something or trying to get my head around something. It annoys me when someone talks to me about something that involves me, like my taxes or something like that, or something with loans or something like that, and I don't know. Yeah. It really pisses me off because I feel I need to be on top of that. I need to know that, man. Yeah. If someone asks me about something on site, I know.
You want to know.
I know. Like, and I want to know. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want someone to be calling me going, what do you reckon I should do here? I'm like, and be blindsided. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be
Across it.
Yeah, I want to be across it. Whether I'm the supervisor on site, I'm just going to be that. Like, it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? It's just like I have to. Yeah, I like to be knowledgeable of. If I've got my chips in, I need to be knowledgeable of something.
Yeah, I get that. I agree with that.
So,
So what about now? So your missus is pregnant. Exciting.
Yes.
You've got a nephew who you're saying is already on the chainsaw.
100%.
So
So
what
there's
do you,
two. There's
so
two.
there's all right. So we're just gonna stay open for another 10 years, and we've got two cheap apprentices.
Cheap.
Kids will at the end of your apprenticeship will pay for the whole program. We'll help you save money. So what do you reckon? Like now, like you're going to be a dad, and like you think back to, like, do you realize that you're going to be, you're going to be the dad coming home being a tradie, and like how do you feel about whether your kid's going to like look up or not look up to that? Like, are you looking at that like?
So this is probably another reason why I really actually not jumped across. I actually merged with you because that was a big thing for me. Where like I couldn't see how I could be a good dad doing what I was doing. There's no way. There was no way. I was coming home. I would sit on the couch. I'd get shitty.
Yeah.
With Margot, and she'd be like, "What's wrong?" I go, "I'm just trying to do this paperwork."
You just get agitated on the computer?
Oh yeah, you see me on a computer, man. Imagine when I'm trying to do my finances. Yeah, like that was chaotic.
Relax finances, man.
It was chaotic. I'm going like this on the video, doot, 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 doot. And then I had all my stuff on paper. I'd send to clients and stuff like that, and it was all in my head, and I knew everything.
Yeah,
but it took me a while to get it out. So I truly believe that pivoting point where like, yeah, that was good, and you're going to be, you're going to make money doing this thing, but in the larger scheme of things, it's a horrible decision.
Yeah,
it's anyone who wants to be a builder, building for people's, doing people's houses all the time and just doing it all by themselves. Good luck to you. Like honestly, I commend you.
And the ones like that, there's a few that come to mind that do it extremely well.
Yeah.
Like operation.
Oh
like,
man,
what an operation! Like, when you see
like
people
they're
that
proper builders, like and I'm an alright builder. I'm nobody big guy doing this crazy stuff, but I know my stuff.
Yeah.
But seeing what these guys do and the amount, I go, hats off to you, man. Like you know what's going on, and when they talk about their finances and what they're all over, I'm like, mate, like I can see why you're doing what you're doing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'm just some bloke. You know what I mean? Just wanted to become a builder, but they're business orientated and know about all the structural stuff,
systems, processes.
100%.
I need someone to look after this. They employ that person,
100%.
And then it's a snowball effect because you have to reinvest in your business. And like we're going a little bit off track, but being successful has layers. Like financially, you want to make money. You want to, in some ways, minimize like risk and be able to create a business that has longevity. But then there's emotional risk. Like there's emotional investment. Like the cost, I'm not willing to sell my peace of mind. I don't care what it costs me. My peace of mind, my ability to put my head on my pillow, my ability to be present in front of my family is number one. Yeah. Especially because of like, obviously I've touched on that. I've had my own challenges mentally through stress, self-inflicted stress. If I really go back to it, it wasn't like I had some life-changing incident. It was just self-inflicted stress of I'm not here, I should be here, expectation, all those things. That is the number one thing for me. I'll give up everything to have clarity. So, like you've got to be able to invest in your business, have those resources. And then the bigger you get, the more resources you get, you create this ability to manage it, but then you obviously have the pressure of a big business. So your whole decision was 100%. Also inflicted by, wanting to have a kid.
For sure. Like, and once again, like I knew that I was, with Margot and stuff like that, lucky her. And I knew that eventually I would go down that path. Like I knew it was going to happen. I wanted it to happen. It wasn't like I didn't want it to, but I was like in my head, I'm like, what do I got to do? And then, things happen between me and you. And I feel like as a father that I will be I'm very similar to my father. Like, even though I didn't, because he had dramas with us, I had a very different relationship with my father. My temperament and the way that I'm as a person is testament to him. Like, my brother's like my mum, nut job. But my dad is very cool, calm, collected, and he's very accepting of things around him and understanding that, like, there's more to things than just money and work. He's not a hippie, but he nearly did run off to a convent. But he's like,
Come on, you're going to be joking.
he did nearly ran off to the bushes into the hills for a convent with a convent, like a hippie convent.
Really?
Serious? Yeah. No, he's probably hippie.
So Nam's a scientist. So what was he? What
He's a
what
food
science?
scientist. So like we used to work at CSL. He actually, I think he brought not himself, but he used to work under the guy who brought what's it called? Not IVF into Melbourne. So
Really?
his boss invented it.
He invented
IVF, yeah.
You're kidding.
Seriously, yeah. So yeah, like he's proper like in CSL, man, like proper scientist, yeah. And yeah, just his way. I think maybe I probably didn't realize much when I was younger, when I used to hang around with him so much, how he was impacting me like that. Like how, yeah, man, like
The way he reacts to situations.
yeah, man. Like he never really got angry about stuff. He would, even when we did stupid stuff, he would never really overreact. Like he was responsive and present, but he was never like blow up and lose his cool, you mean?
Yeah.
So like I feel like I saw how people were around my father, and I probably realize this now talking about it. Like I idolize him for that, because like everyone loves my father. Like, well, he's still alive, but everyone likes him, you mean? You meet him and you're like, I don't know why I like this guy. You barely know him.
He's got a good sense. There's an aura about your dad that it's just like, it's very welcoming. You're both your parents, but your dad, like so your dad's blind.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I found out that, I thought your dad was like I can't imagine losing my sight. But I think you're balancing your dad's attitude, knowing that he lost his sight. There was a guide dog in the house. I was just like, how is this guy like this?
Yeah.
Like he's just like, I actually think the first time I met him, he was on the ladder painting the back shed at your parents' house. And he like, at what point? So if I was 12 years ago, how blind was he? What percent?
Yeah, so he was legally blind but when I was about 14, he was officially legally blind. They took his license off, he was legally blind.
Okay.
And then probably about 10 years ago, he was blind as a bat.
Legally blind for that long?
What he used to say is like, if you close one eye, because one eye would have been taken out already, if you close your eye, squint as much as you can, he sees less than that. So that's what you say. He goes, I can't see anything. I can see maybe a shadow here or there, whatever. So
But he like cooks and stuff.
yeah, I don't know how he does it.
He still cooks
Mark
now.
used to say he's a fake blind person, because you can't, because we used to, at the dinner table, we'd be like, and he wouldn't be doing anything. But then,
But is it because he's so familiar with his environment?
100%. But then my mum, I love my mum, but she's, what a lady.
She's feisty.
So like, she would move stuff around, not deliberately, she'd just move stuff around, and he would be looking for ages to find stuff. And then like, he would put dishes in the dishwasher, clean them, put them back, but she used to roast him, because sometimes when the dishwasher, they don't clean them properly, so she would roast him about it. Why are you not cleaning the dishes properly? And I go, mate, are you kidding me? Like, are you actually kidding me? Like, she's ruthless, man. But my dad doesn't mind it, like, because he's like, I don't want. My dad's always said, I don't want to be treated different.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
As like a respect.
I get that too.
Yeah, but.
But I mean, give him a break. He's blind. How's he know?
100%. It's common sense, you mean? Like, even my mum says something, and sometimes I'm looking at him, I'm like, are you serious?
Have you ever said to him, Dad, are you blind? Have you ever said that?
No. There's sometimes I'm like, how are you doing that? Because it moves so like methodically, and like grabbing stuff, because I watch him.
He'd have to be, because he'd have to have like a route.
Yeah, he feels stuff, and then he goes, because this is even crazier. So in his little workshop at the back, he uses a drop saw. There's a drop saw in his
Now?
back shed. Oh, not now, but before, like maybe a few years ago.
He was on the drop saw.
He would use it now. So what is he puts like a bit of timber, and he marks it like with his fingernail or something, and then takes it over to the thing, drops the blade onto his thing, and then cuts it. It's absolute madness. Like it's absolute, he's got chainsaw and everything.
That's why he's only got one thumb.
Yeah, so
Your dad, I remember, I think he was on a tram. Was he on a tram?
He was on a tram.
They were printing him on the tram.
Yeah, he was on a tram.
And then the whole guide, like even seeing a guide dog in a house. Like you grew up with guide dogs. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of, and I say this to Margaret a lot, and then maybe you probably can be the same. A lot of people in life, when they've never grown up around someone who's actually disabled. I don't mean like got one leg. I'm not talking about lost a finger or thing. I'm talking about someone who's proper disabled, who needs someone around for not so much for them to live, but they cannot survive without someone. And having that, in your life, it makes you really think about stuff. Where it makes you really think like I got to be looking after something. I got to think about someone else. So like at a young age, I always had to think like that. Where like I had to think about if I not so much left something out, but if I did something, it would put my father in a shit position. Like we would go fishing sometimes, and we went in this kayak, and the kayak tipped, and he nearly drowned, and all this sort of stuff. So it was like my relationship with my father was very different in the way of like, it was obviously the roles probably reversed a bit at a younger age.
I've never thought about that. Like, how did that impact your childhood? Really?
Oh, it's way different. Yeah, 100%. When I was younger, like probably when I was trying to play footy and sports and stuff, it really annoyed me. Like it affected me because I resented my father a bit because I was like, oh fuck, like everyone else is doing this sort of stuff, but I couldn't do it.
What was the things that you had to do?
Oh, I kicked the footy or anything. I couldn't do nothing.
Oh, you found.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I could because that's where I used to do all that stuff with my pop, but I never had that relationship with my father because he couldn't do it. He muck around a little bit, but like I can't imagine me going with him to a football field and kicking it from 30 meters away, dong him in the head. Do you know what I mean?
So what was your, like, where were the bonding moments with your dad?
So we spent a lot of time at Ocean Grove, like, and do stuff like fishing, and it sounds like a bit weird, but like I used to have serious conversations with my dad. So like the conversations I have with my father, they're not like they're father-son conversations, but I have real in-depth conversations about his life and how, he deals with, like I've spoken numerous times about like how he's feeling about his eyes and how, how his dad sort of like impacted and stuff like that because he had like he come over a crazy way. And like I've had serious conversation with that and numerous times because his love language is talking because that's all he can do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he can't go out and buy something. He can't go out and do this. You have to go see him and talk. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you're talking for someone, when I go see him, when you go talk to someone for 2 hours every week, and like you're going to talk about some stuff. You're not going to talk about the trees every time. You're going to constantly talking. So a lot of people don't have that relationship with their father that was different to mine. It may be more caring, like the roles are reversed because people may felt sorry for my father, like, oh, he's blind. But me as a son, when I realized that my father was offering me more things and was wise, like, you know what I mean? Because what has happened to him, it made him like see the world in a different way, you know what I mean? Where like, you know what I mean? It just completely changed everything. So into my benefit, it helped me. Yeah. But a lot of people would think, oh, it's a curse. But it was a curse, obviously. I mean, my dad I want my dad to be able to see. But the way that I see things is very much because of my father. And how I treat people, how I present myself, where like I'm an idiot. I'm a larrikin, I run around, but you know what I mean? Like I'm very aware of how I'm perceived by people. I'm very aware how I impact other people's lives. Yeah. How, you know what I mean? What is right. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know what is right. I'm not like a kid be like, like he's an idiot. Like I know what I'm doing. I know if I'm going to hurt someone or I'm going to do this. So that was the way that, you know what I mean? My father was a bit softer like that, but it made me really aware of my surroundings.
Did you ever think about what it was like now that you're going to have a kid, what your dad felt like when he first...
100%. Because he didn't know, they didn't know when he was super young. So like he didn't know as he was like when he had me. But I mean like, it definitely became apparent to me like how I've realized younger, like how even seeing my dad with my brother's son, like how that impacts him, you know what I mean? Because it's hard. It's not easy, man. But you got to, as he always says, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do what you got to do, mate. Like, what am I going to do? Roll over and die? Like, I got to make the best of what I can. My parents are lucky they got some money to live, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
If they had that drama as well, they're lucky. They're just sort of living their life and they can do what they want, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. No, I think like it's funny, like I just said at the start, it's weird. Like I sit down and speak to you for an hour and a half. I've known you for so long. You're a groomsman at my wedding, but you still don't really get that chance to sit down with your mates without alcohol involved, especially, and just like understand that perspective. But I mean, it's clear to kind of see that, you know, you've had really strong influences in your life and like you're starting to really strongly influence people around you. And I think it's going to be awesome when we've got little baby, what are you going to call him? Look Junior?
No. I think it's gonna be Harvey. I think.
It's either going to be Harvey.
I think it's Harvey. I think Harvey.
Oh, well, look, have a look. Have a look. Can't wait to meet Harvey Look, man. So
No dramas.
Well done.
Appreciate it, man.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.